Hi, this is Womp Rat, and welcome to Orcs Must Die 2, the weekly challenge, Tank is AFK. My first taste of this level was in co-op, and it was a bloodbath. And not for the Orcs, but for me and my co-op partner, Saban Kenobi. So today we are going to take everything in our arsenal because we are going to need each and every tool to get through this level and 5-skull it. Now, when I first saw this level as the challenge and I saw the tools, I knew exactly what I wanted to do in co-op, but I didn't know how to implement it correctly. So it wasn't until Wave 4 when we were able to set up something resembling what you're seeing here. Now we're going to put the archers off here at an angle so that they can shoot over on the side without shooting one another. There's hallways that run parallel to where they are, and we're going to want them shooting every orc and ogre that they can before they get over here. So let's take you up to the northern passage where our orcs will spawn for Wave 1. In our co-op game, we decided to try to meet them there head-on. In co-op, you get ogres and trolls right off the bat. It was brutal. We ended up getting through it, not in one piece, but with one skull. We'll be going through again trying to 5-skull it on co-op, and I'm going to try to get some of that footage for you guys. So, I'm going to start off and try to get untouchable, but I know it's not going to happen. It's just inevitable that I'm going to get hit. I don't have those Twitch skills, or the luck, or the practice to get through with untouchable. Now, am I saying it's impossible? No. There's someone out there who has to have the Twitch skills, the luck, and the practice to get this untouchable. Now, if you know you're not going to get untouchable, I would say just go in, swing, make sure you're getting those combos. But if you're going to go for the extra 50,000 points, just try not to get hit. It's going to get harder in later waves when you have archers and ogres. You'll see later on that ogres have a very wild and wide swing. They can hit behind them. There's not really a safe place to stand other than away when you're dealing with trolls and ogres. So that's our first wave. I've gotten hit. So I'm going to show you guys a little bit of a trick. Stand near the rift here. You're going to get some HP back. It's a trick from Orcs Must Die 1. It's going to be essential to completing this level without dying. And you'll see me run back here for health often. This has probably been the most brutal weekly challenge I've done yet. Even more brutal than one of the weekly challenges where we got vampire gloves and I went with trapless and untouchable on that. That was hard, but it wasn't brutal. This has just been awful, and I love it. So, for the first part of this level, you're going to be the tank. And if you're shooting for untouchable, I suggest that you spec into evasion. Later on in the level, we're going to be using our decoys, and they are going to tank for us. They will be our AFK tank, because they don't really need to do much other than just sit there and take the abuse. But for now, it's up to us to dance around, hit these orcs, and not get hit if you're trying for that untouchable. Nice thing about archers and dwarves is that they tend to be the priority targeting for archers. Same thing goes for the hunters that you're going to see later on in the level. Anytime you hear a howl, you got to keep your eyes peeled, because if they ignore the decoy, they will go straight for your archers and your dwarves, and you can ill afford to lose too many of them. Alrighty, we're on Wave 3. Now the important thing to remember for Wave 3 is that at the end of this, you're going to get a break, which means that all of your guardians and your or barricades in this instance will revive. As an afterthought, it probably would have been better to have put at least one dwarf on this south side last wave to help with more combos. So here's where things get harder. Ogres. Now, when the first Orcs Must Die, ogres were kind of a joke. You could evade them really easily. And something that I have issues with is sometimes the ogre will be a lot farther away than me from what I'm viewing. And I'll get hit and stunned. They're not even next to me. Not even within their swing. Well, we're going to eat it there for the greater good. Don't want him walking into the rift. And besides, we've already been hit wave 1, so it allows us to tank here. We're going to tank this ogre, let our archers and dwarves just rain death on him. Come over here and lure him back. Oh, whoa. Almost fell into the acid. And that's actually one of the more interesting things about this level, is the separation using lava and acid. Granted, we don't have any push or spring traps to make use of it. It's still pretty interesting from an aesthetic viewpoint. We took some damage there, got a little bit low on our health. We need to... There we go. Our break puts us back at full HP, and it's going to be time to show you about how we're going to be doing this. So I talked about mazing them around, kind of spiraling them into the rift. We're going to be adding dwarves and archers and barricades, and then we're going to be saving our money for decoys. Okay, we've got a frost ogre over here. Need to come tank him. It'd probably be worth your time before starting this wave to get your defenses all lined up. Because we're going to finish under par by a bit, and it would have been nice to have had a decoy up here on the north end to distract that ogre. I'm going to go ahead and put the decoy right over here, help us with this. Our decoys are a fun little toy because once they go pop, they blow up, adding extra combo to anything they hit. If you get exceptionally lucky, you might hit them when they're on fire and bleeding, because I believe the dwarves have a bleed effect this week for their upgraded power. It seems to be the case, as I've seen some ×4s without my interaction on other targets. ×5 there. That bleed and fire, and my melee attack. You know, whenever you get low on health, just come over here, top off. Gonna add archers and continue that spacing. It's very important that they all be able to fire without interfering with one another. Thankfully, the dwarves aren't as bad. You can put them just about anywhere. I like to have them up near the front, so it makes lobbing their bombs a little bit easier. So we got some flyers this wave. These Earth Lords are annoying. You can whittle them down. Just gotta make sure not to get hit like I did. Which brings us back to the best tool in your arsenal if you're going to go for untouched is just making sure that you kite things around with the power up from the sword. If you hit a target, you're going to get a speed boost for about 2-3 seconds. some of the things that are going to really drive you up the wall here are the Earth Elementals and the Kobold Runners later on. They're a little bit harder for your archers to shoot, and you're going to have to play the last line of defense for those. The Earth Elementals, while they're not hard for the archers to hit, generally they come on waves where your archers are going to be preoccupied shooting at orcs and ogres. You're going to have to go in there and clear them out. The last thing that is going to be annoying, and you will see this, are sometimes ogres just flat out ignore your decoys, and they will make a mad dash for the rift. I'm not sure if it's just written in for specific creatures that they release, or if it's some kind of a bug, but it's going to be in your best interest to get in there and attack them. Thankfully, while they're making that mad dash, they're not going to target you at all. You can just go in there and attack them, but be ready to get back in there and hop the barricade if they turn around at all, or you will get hit. So I talked about the gnoll hunters. You just got to keep your eye out anytime you hear them howl. Generally, the first pair that spawn, one will go after the decoy, the other won't. I haven't played the level enough to know if it's always going to be the one coming in from the north, or if it's going to be the one coming in from the south, or if it alternates and just randomly decides. Just all this fighting, it's hectic, it's crazy, and I love it. It definitely gives me some ideas for some challenges I want to do for myself. I'm almost wondering what the level would have been like had we been granted the War Mage and possibly his hammer. I really do like this challenge, though. It's crazy, but it's also a lot of fun. So we're going to complete our maze. And that's as far in as you build in your barricades. Yeah, I misplaced that particular barricade. You want to have flush. But that's all the barricades you need. At this point, you just want to flesh out, adding a couple more archers, and making sure you have enough dwarves on each battlefront. So we got five dwarves there. Add an archer into the mix, and I think we've hit our guardian limit. Pick up that skull. We're going to go over here, harass this ogre. Get chased around by another ogre. See if he'll right, that decoy. Kind of same deal here. Just mostly harass them, clean up, grab our coins, see if we missed any. Let's head on over to the other side. Grab our coins. So we got some extra coin. We got some time before the orcs and ogres make their way out. Let's heal up, top off our health. Always keep your health topped up on this level. Now, I find that it helps to put a decoy about right there. See this ogre making a mad dash. Now he's turned around, and we put him down. Thankfully, our archers and dwarves were able to put down the troll over there. Alright. Let's make an assessment of the damage done. We'll get topped off. And we're going to go ahead and put our decoys back up. Just somewhere around there is good. Later in the level, I find a placement that I like a little bit better. And yeah, I forgot to sell the barricade and replace it. So one thing that is kind of hectic in this level is there's nothing you can do about those flyers. You just have to have your archers there for that.
Are you paying attention? Now, how many was that?
I think I've mentioned it before. I really hate the orc archers. Now, if you want to go for a higher score here, it might be more in your best interest to not be doing as much slaughtering in the later waves. That's because trap and minion kills will net you twice the amount of points on a kill than a melee kill will net you. Also, if you're not getting in there, you know, there's a chance that you're not going to prematurely kill them, and you might get more combos that way. Mostly what I'd like to do today is show people the beginnings of a strategy that I hope to improve on over time. After all, the challenge has not even been out for a full 24 hours.
That's all.
There we go.
They'll go where I
I seem
want
to have mazed myself.
them. Begin the lesson.
Got to replace our decoys. We need to make sure that those things are always up. Otherwise, those ogres are just going to run rampant and cause you to have to restart your level. Now, I talked about these kobold runners earlier. You have to be there to stop them. Otherwise, they will just run right through, and you're going to have to reset the level, get that 5 skull. So waiting for those kobold runners, they make a very distinct noise. Once we've finished up with them, we can go ahead and turn our attention to other more pressing matters. We have some elementals here that almost got through. Like I said, it's going to be those kobolds and those elementals that you are going to hate, and this guy is not stopping for anything, so let's go ahead and put him down before he gets any closer to the rift. I honestly have no idea what puts such a spirited charge into them to ignore everything but the rift, whether it's specific programming for that specific creature or if it's something entirely different. So in co-op, I found that putting the decoy in the middle there, you get your barricades hit too much. So we're going to put them over here, further away, and it seems to be far enough away that the barricades aren't going to get totally destroyed. The decoy down there, of course, being more of a last resort, kind of a last defense. That was not fun. Let's go ahead and heal up. Anytime you get hit that hard and you find that there's enough space between your guardians and them, just go ahead and get back to that rift, heal up, because you don't want to take a random hit from an archer or get hit by an ogre and stun locked. You'll just end up dying, you'll lose points, and you'll have to restart the level if you want that 5 skull. Honestly, this is probably the worst I have played in a long time. Make sure we have lots of money, because we're going to need to replace our decoys at the end of almost every wave at this point. We've only got 2 more waves to go until the end.
Looks just like a dummy I know. Welcome to my lair.
Quite honestly, the earlier levels where you have less in this particular challenge, I really feel that is the challenge. When you get into these later waves where you've reached the Guardian cap, you have all your barricades, and you have enough money for decoys, it's far less challenging, unless you make it challenging and get out there in melee. And I'm kind of a glutton for punishment today, so we're going to go in there and help clear out these larger targets, replace our decoys. Now at this point, it's all about managing both sides of your maze. And we hear a gnoll, which means that we're going to have to start looking for him soon. Got another gnoll coming in from somewhere. So we need to replace our decoys. There's that hunter. Grab all the coins we can. Come in from behind, attack these ogres, pick up the coins. We're down to the last little bit here. As always, every wave, make sure you're topped off on HP unless you are going for untouchable. In which case, congratulations, you've made it to wave 12 and haven't been hit. Let's just hope that you don't get hit this wave and you score an extra 50,000 points. Now, one of the things I think would be really interesting would be to see how the guys over at Robot Entertainment do these levels, these weekly challenges. I would love to see some of their devs play these levels and just hear the kinds of things that went into making the level and what sorts of strategies they expect to see. That rift is going to be your best friend if you have very little skill in the way of dodging like I do. I have probably gone through 5 bars of health, and that rift is invaluable. There we go. They're rushing the rift, gotta get their attention. We have to tank. Oh, that is close. Reminds me of when I used to play Street Fighter 2 as a kid. You get the computer down to a sliver of life, and then they come back and they make you pay. Thankfully, I'm not going to be the one to pay today. We're going to make these orcs and ogres pay. And there we have it. Tank is AFK. Victory. Just a little bit over 200,000 points. We 5-skulled it. We came in about 3 minutes under par. Picked up Manalus for a 50,000 point bonus. And that puts us at rank 2, as rank 1 currently is not a legitimate score. So feel free to borrow and adapt this strategy. Hope to see you at the top. Until next time, this is Womp Rat signing off.